Get in here, best friend, because I'm going to teach you 7 things that all men look for when they're trying to decide if they want to make you their forever. I'll tell you right now, I am uniquely qualified to speak on this because in my adult life, I've had 3 men propose to me. One of them proposed to me within 3 weeks of knowing me, darling. I know how to put a spell on men so that they will see you as their forever. Now, I'm going to tell you in advance before I get into any of these tips, I cannot make a man want you who doesn't want you. If he doesn't want to get married, if he doesn't want to have a long-term relationship with you or with anybody else, baby, there's nothing I can do to change his mind. However, the tips that I'll give you today will be tips that you can apply to someone who you already know is interested in you, someone who you already have chemistry with, someone who you already have a foundation with, and you can utilize these tips as a way to add further insurance to making sure that you are roping that man in and helping him see you as his wifey. So let's go ahead and jump into tip number 1, but before I do it, make sure you click share on this video, and of course make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you can get more tips on how to get that guy and how to use that feminine energy to get him to give you everything and anything that you want. Let's start with tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to be a part of his emotional support system. This is so important. That means that when he's having a bad day, you're one of the first people that he wants to call on to talk to about it. That means that when he's having a good day and he's got great news, you're one of those first people that he wants to text or call to reach out to say, hey baby, guess what happened to me? When you can be a vital part of a man's emotional support system, you become a fixture within his own self-care. Whenever he's going through anything good or bad, a trial or a triumph, you're one of the people that he thinks of. And when you can do that, you become such a vital part of his life that he begins to not be able to see his future without you. In fact, the thought of not having you in his life will be so unimaginable that he's going to start to take steps to pull you closer and to get further levels of commitment out of you. When you can be a vital part of his emotional support system, I'm telling you right now, that's one of the biggest keys to helping him to see you as his forever so that he can make you into his wifey. Tip number 2 is allow him to be vulnerable with you. One of the things we have to remember about masculine energy men is that although they have the exact same emotions and the exact same insecurities as you and I, the world doesn't always give them the space to be as vulnerable as they would allow me and you to be, okay? It's okay for us to say, I'm feeling bad, or even to cry, because we have so much feminine energy. But when you walk around the world as a masculine man, oftentimes you can feel a pressure to suppress your real feelings. You can feel a pressure to not truly be vulnerable. That's why when you find a partner that allows you to be vulnerable and to allow you to be your full self, which means that when you want to be strong and powerful, they allow you to be strong and powerful. But that also means that when you're feeling down, feeling low, feeling weak, feeling unsure, that they're there to hold you and they don't view you as any less of a king than you are. That's what they need most. Because when a man knows that he doesn't always have to have it all together with you and that he can be vulnerable and be his full self and even cry or be emotional with you, what that's going to do is that's going to help him to see you in his future more, because at the end of the day, what we all want is to be able to be accepted, to be validated, and to be embraced as our full selves. And when we can have that with someone, we will build lifelong relationships with them. I mean, if you don't believe me, think about the people who are your closest friends. Think about the family members that you talk to the most. Those are the people that you can be your most full self with. So if you want a man to see you as his forever, then doesn't it make sense that you need to be someone that allows him to feel comfortable being vulnerable and being his full self? And he will do everything in his power to make sure that you stay happy so that you will stay in his life. Tip number 3 is to nurture amazing physical chemistry with him. Now, when I talk about nurturing physical chemistry, what I'm talking about is making sure that you continuously keep it spicy, that you continuously allow him to see your relationship as a place where he can get his more primal needs met, a place where you all can explore, a place where you will never get bored with one another. Now, of course, when you're in a long-term relationship with somebody, every day that you all are intimate with each other is not going to feel like the first day. Some days are going to be more exciting than others. But what you want to make sure you're doing is allowing the bedroom to feel like a place where you all can be free to explore and really enjoy yourselves, because one of the biggest things that makes a man check out of a relationship mentally is once he starts to feel like his sexual needs can't be met, and once he starts to feel like it's very restrictive or very boring or just very, very stale. When you can keep it spicy and allow your physical relationship to be something that he looks forward to, then he's going to see you as a part of his future, because because he will recognize that this vital part of his physiological needs, which is sexual fulfillment, will be able to be met with you. Before I go to the next tip, make sure you click share this video and subscribe to this channel. The next tip that'll help a man to see you as his forever is when you all can resolve conflict in a healthy way. This is vitally important because for masculine energy men, they tend to not do well with persistent conflict. When they're in a relationship with someone and it seems to always be conflict and things are not being resolved and the same issues keep on coming up over and over and over again, what they start to do is they start to check out of the relationship mentally, where even if they don't end the relationship or leave you, one of the things that they won't do is continue to see you as a prospect for having a long-term relationship with or a marriage with them. They're not going to see you that way anymore. So one of the things that I recommend to anyone who's looking to build a long-term relationship or marriage with someone is this. Be honest with yourself about if you have some unhealthy ways of dealing with conflict, and not only be honest with yourself about that, but do the work to heal and fix those parts of yourself. I'm gonna tell you right now that everyone has some ways of dealing with conflict that may not always be the best way. So just because you may have some unhealthy ways of dealing with conflict doesn't make you a bad person at all. However, if you choose not to work on these areas, then it will set the stage for you to have issues within your relationships that could drive men away. So I'm telling you right now is to put your big girl panties on, put your big boy drawers on, and deal with the parts of yourself that you know are keeping you from being your best self. Because when you can do that, it sets the stage for him to be able to see the maturity within you, and also sets the stage for him to be able to see you as someone that he can have a healthy long-term relationship with. The next tip is to make his family and friends fall in love with you. All people, but especially masculine energy men, are very much so influenced by what their family and friends think about them. You have to recognize this. So when you can position yourself in such a way that his mother, his best friend, his siblings, whoever the people are that he's closest to, that those people like you and they're rooting for you, it will set the stage for you to get that ring out of him. I'm telling you right now, this tip here works extremely well, because think about it like this. Let's say that he's dragging his feet on marrying you or giving you a strong commitment. Well, when his family and his friends are in your corner, they're going to be all up in his ear all the time talking about when you're going to propose, what's going on with y'all. They're going to be doing work for you to get him to commit more to you and to build a life with you. And on that same point, when you all get into an argument or have disagreements or something like that, and he may go to his family or his friends to vent about what's going on, then they're going to be in his ear saying, now come on, now you know she a good woman. And they're going to be rooting for you. They're going to even hold him accountable and be like, now hold on, were you wrong in this situation? They're going to have your back. Now, obviously, every family member and friend that he has is not going to like you, nor will you like them. So I'm not saying to force any relationships or to fake it. But what I am saying is this. The people who are closest to him will have influence over him, whether you like it or not. So you need to make sure that you're doing everything in your power to get along with those people and to have them as people who will advocate for you being in his life in a long-term way. Now, you know I got some tips and tricks for everything. So one of the first tips I have is this. When you meet that person who's special in his life, don't sit down with them and let them just interview you and ask you tons of questions. Ask them about themselves also, but do it in a nice way. Because there's a rule in conversations. He or she who talks the most usually walks away from the conversation feeling the best. I'm gonna say it again. The person who talks the most in a conversation usually is the person who walks away from that conversation feeling best about that conversation. So what you want to do is, in a genuinely curious and engaging way, ask them questions about themselves. So if you're at their house, for example, and you see they have a bunch of pictures of them fishing or participating in some form of a competition, I would go up to those pictures and be like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? This is great. You're going to do things that make them feel special and make them feel like you are interested in them. This is key, because anytime that someone feels like you are genuinely interested in them, then they are going to have a more positive reaction to you. They're going to want to get to know you more, and beyond that, they're going to feel connected to you on a one-on-one basis. This is why in some cases, why people say, oh, I broke up with this person however many years ago, but yet they still get along with my family and my family still checks on them. The reason for that is because that person, that ex, took the time to build a bond with those family members, and that bond survives even even the breakup of their initial relationship with the person who connected them to the family. So when you can get along with his family and friends, and you can help those family and friends to have a personal connection with you and genuinely like you, then that will help them to be in your corner. And when they are in your corner, he will see you as a long-term part of his life, because now you not only fit into that intimate part of his world, which is the relationship that you all have, but you also fit into the more peripheral parts of his world, which is that you get along with his family and friends. And when that happens, that's really when magic happens, because ultimately a long-term relationship is not just two people coming together, it's two worlds coming together. So that'll help him to see you as a part of his world. The next tip that will help him to see you as his forever and want to wife you is when you all can have shared goals together. This is something that really gets into his head and gets down into his spirit. It does it to all people. Having shared goals together means that there are long-term goals that you all put in place together to work towards together. It may be that we're both working towards a certain fitness goal. It may be something bigger than that. It could be that, hey, he's got a small business that he wants to build and you've got a small business that you want to build. So you all are going to work towards those together and hold one another accountable. It could be something as big as, hey babe, let's buy a house together in a year or two and let's start saving towards it. And I'm going to give you a warning. If this shared goal is a financial goal, make sure that before you mix money together, this is someone that you really trust. However, even if it's not someone that you're that close to just yet, you can say, hey, I'm going to save this much money per month, you save this much money per month. And when we get to a certain level, then we will go after whatever goal together. What you have to recognize is this, is that having something to look forward to with someone else is the foundation of happiness and long-term commitment. Ultimately, when we're building a commitment with someone, we're not just building the commitment for today. We're building that commitment with someone because of the future goals that we want to accomplish with them, whether it's having kids, purchasing a home, building a business, whatever it may be. So when you have shared goals with him that you all can work towards together, hold each other accountable towards together, and most importantly, celebrate in together once you accomplish those goals, it will help him to see you as his forever, because you're doing things that are important to his life and important to your life, and you're doing those things together. Now, my final tip on how to influence a guy to see you as his forever and to wife you is this, and this is probably the most important tip that I've given in this video, so make sure you listen to this, and in fact, rewatch this one over and over and over again until it locks into your mind. Be your best self. So what that means is this: whatever you did to attract him in the first place, continue doing those things once you get him, because that'll keep him engaged with you, and that'll also help him to feel like you didn't do a bait and switch, because sometimes guys feel that way. They're like, wow, when I first met her, she had hobbies, she took care of her body, she had friends, she had all these things she did, and now it seems like she barely goes to the gym. Now I can't get her to get her hair done or get a manicure or a pedicure. Now she want to be up under me 24/7 smothering me. She don't want to hang out with her friends no more. Damn, she's a whole different person than what I remember when I first met her, and that will turn him off over time, because think about it, if he did the same thing to you, you'd be turned off by that. So what I recommend that everyone does once they get in a relationship with someone that they want to build forever with is make sure that you are continuously being your best self. If you got friends that you hang out with, continue to hang out with them. Now you may have to hang out with them a little bit less because you need to make room in your life for your man, but don't stop hanging out with the people that you're close to. I'll tell you, I used to make that mistake all the time, where when I would meet a guy that I liked, then my friends wouldn't see me no more. They would call me up and be like, listen, why is it that every time you get a man, we don't hear from you or see you no more? Well, that's where I was at, because I was immature, and I thought that the only way to make it work with a man was to be around him all the time, and that just wasn't the case. What I now know at this point in my life is that a man cherishes you more when you make the time that you have with him special, but you don't give him all of your time, because when he's around you constantly, it doesn't give him time to miss you, and more than anything else, you become less intriguing to him. So what I now do is I make sure that I still spend time with my friends. I'm going to continue to do whatever I have to do to be the best version of myself, because when I'm the best version of myself for myself, I emit an energy that makes me more attractive to my spouse, because ultimately that's what we all want, is to be able to have a spouse that we consistently feel attracted to and that we have a desire to consistently have within our world. Now, if this video was helpful to you, what I want you to do is comment below this video and let me know it. Also, if there are other topics that you want me to cover, I'm always willing to do topics that can help you to be able to live your best life and to get that relationship that you desire and deserve. So as I mentioned before, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until our next video, best friends, I love you to death.